Welcome to the Playbook. I'm David Meltzer here at the greatest stadium ever created, $5.5 billion of pure beauty in sports, entertainment, and community, reviving Inglewood like no other structure, company, or operation in history. And I'm blessed to be a part of it. But I'm more blessed to have my newest friend here. Arlan Hamilton is here. She's an author, and we're going to talk about her book, Your First Million. But she's also a venture catalyst, and we're going to talk about that. And, of course, founder of Backstage Capital. Welcome to the Playbook, Arlan.
Thanks for having me, David.
I'm so excited to have you here. First of all, you may not know this, but I have created a fund, Meltzer Funding, that is specific to women, but even further women of color, because I think the fastest way to change our ecosystem is to fund the people that are most successful. You pay the quarterbacks who play the best, the most money, but for some reason in venture, we're not paying the quarterbacks who make the most money the most money. In fact, less than 2% of women get funded. And if you look at people of color and women, it equals 73% of the earth, and less than 3% of those people are being funded, capitalized, even though statistically they're a better investment than anybody else in the world. How are you facing that reality, statistical reality, that is probably more inherent than intentional today, inherent in the system that we've created? How are you fighting against that?
I have to say that it's somewhat intentional as well.
Good,
I mean,
good.
here we are, right?
Yeah.
So 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I saw that less than 10% of funding was going to these groups, and I identify as all of them, including LGBTQ plus. And so sitting at that intersection, I was in Texas, like where I grew up, and I was like, this is a problem. This could make me very sad, very disappointed, or I could do something with that. I could sit with that or do something with it. So I set out to, instead of raising $1 million for this tech company that I wanted to start, what if I raised $1 million and invested in other people who were underestimated? And we call them underestimated. I have that trademarked in 2 countries.
I like it.
And so that's where it really stemmed from, was just like you, I looked at this and I said, wait a second, I know Black women, I know people of color, I know women across the board. We get stuff done. We make money, and a lot of times we think about profit first. We don't think about certain ways that venture normally works, where it's like, oh, well, think about profit 7 or 8 years in.
Not manipulation, but profit.
Yeah, so I felt that it was a calling rather than something I was chasing. For the first time in my life, I was homeless until off and on homeless, had housing insecurity until I was 35, and then made my first million a few years later.
So you're living proof of one thing, that 0 to 1 is harder than 1 to 100. And that's true in the millions too, trust me.
Yeah.
So how do we help people? Because 99.9% of the people quit before they get to 1.
Yeah.
And they see the challenges, the struggles, the voids, the shortages and obstacles in which you faced: food insecurity, housing insecurity, discrimination, intentional and unbiased and unintentional.
Exactly.
Right? I'm a 56-year-old white middle-aged man.
Yeah.
I know I got shit to unlearn, but
Yeah.
I'm definitely not an intentional person.
No, you're not.
Trying
It's
to
just,
fix it.
Some of the people are intentional, and I love when people aren't,
Right.
because they're having a conversation, and it's like, it's not an attack. It's like, no, this is messed up. Maybe we should do something about it, right?
Thank you.
And I think that's fun, right?
You could trademark that too. This
Yeah.
is messed up. Let's do something about it. We could change the world with that.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it together. Let's do a joint venture.
But how do we get people not to quit?
Well, here's the thing. So I want to help create 1,000 new millionaires in the next decade. And I don't think I'll do that by simply investing in them, right? I'm going to invest in capital in them.
Yeah.
What I want to invest instead, or in addition to, is that information, blueprint, knowledge, confidence, and courage. So the idea is we're not looking for someone to come save us, because obviously I get pitched every single day of my life while I'm walking anywhere in the streets. I'm pitched. But it's not just about who can come in and give me $100,000 and make things easier for me today. It's about, how do I generate $100,000 at the drop of a hat whenever I want to or need to. That, teaching that skill and putting people in the place to get to that place, that builds confidence. And I've seen it happen over and over and over again, where someone did not believe that they were supposed to be in the room. They did not believe that they were capable or worthy. And then they got a taste of like making money happen for them, turning it on like a switch or a faucet. And all of a sudden they understood, oh, I can get out of the relationship that it's not serving me. I can stand up to people who have been toxic in my life. I can leave situations that I need to, and I can thrive. And I think that's what I help bring to the world, is that sense.
And in your book, you talk about two things in the realm of legacy, but I really look at them as everybody has a genetic and an energetic inheritance. And we have to elevate our awareness to that inheritance, but also we have to leave some of it behind. We have to change the chain. We have to change the genetic code.
Break some curses.
Break some curses. And I think your book has a lot to do with that, of leaving that genetic and energetic legacy behind. What are some of the things that people can do just to be aware of, or see clues, or maybe even patterns of that genetic and energetic interference that stops us or makes us feel stuck, or even, encourages us to quit or listen to what other people think?
I think a lot of people have imposter syndrome. We've talked about that. A lot of people have imposter syndrome, but if you really break it down, everyone most likely has worked with someone who they feel like, wait, how did they get that job? Why are they there? And that person is blissfully ignorant, happy to be there, doing their job, not worried about necessarily what other people think. And I said that I want to help give more Black women entitlement because we haven't had that much entitlement. It's usually a bad word, right? Actually, I think, so privilege, by the way, is not a bad word. The entitlement that comes with privilege is the bad word, right? So if you are someone who has privilege, use it, share it. That's the play. Don't be worried about it, shameful of it, or defensive of it. Use it and help others. But I think that getting rid of that, and the idea of imposter syndrome to begin with, that's something, it's like a construct. It's something that other people have placed on us. We don't have time for it. My first book was called It's About Damn Time. We're running out of time, like literally. We're all gonna die. And also we have so much time to make up for. So we don't have time for imposter syndrome to hold us back. We belong here. Let's get there. I think another thing is the relationship, quote unquote, with money. I talk about this in Your First Million, my new book. I used to have a really terrible relationship with money, meaning I was afraid of it, scared of it. I was afraid of it. I was disappointed by it. I was mad at it. It made my mom cry, so it was this thing. I also lusted after it because I wanted more, because it would save everything and help everything. Today I have zero relationship with money. We didn't even break up. There's just no
emotional attachment.
It's no emotional attachment. It is an inanimate object, and in most cases it is pixels on a screen. That's usually how we see money, is dots on a screen moving back and forth. So there's no emotional attachment, and it takes a while to get there. But once you get there, once I got there, everything opened for me. And so I think that's a major way to take away some of that trauma, or to help put a salve and heal it. And once I understood that, and understood a few other things about rich people after being around them, interviewing them, becoming one, on paper at least, I understood, there are just certain tenets or certain things, like rich people. Dr. Pamela Jolly told me once, rich people own things and collaborate. Once I heard that and understood it and saw it in motion, I was like, yes, that's it. And so I think about that every time I do something. And so there's these different things that are, it's not like you have to be a genius to be wealthy.
Right.
If it were true, I don't know that I would,
Got to know math.
Right. Like you don't have to be a genius. There's no, I think everyone watching or listening to this could be a millionaire. That's why I say your first million. I think that's the case. And I think that most people don't believe that of themselves. So that's what I'm on a mission to change, one by one.
And we parallel each other in the different worlds that we've lived in. We both started off in the world of not enough.
Yeah.
Everything happening to us.
Yeah.
Feeling like victims. And then we moved into this world of just enough, which still has this predetermined trade or negotiation that, money had an emotional attachment. You were making it, but you had to develop where, and you identify within the context of that relationship. You give to receive. Everything's trading and negotiating, competitive and comparative, which steals joy, by the way. But it seems to me that you've elevated into the world that I try to share, which is the world of abundance, that you have a belief that there's more than enough of everything for everyone, and you're looking to see how can you open the door to this new world, or the windows or the back door to the world. And within the context of understanding abundance, it really involves a few things that I see in you and in your book. One, it's too simple to say the more you give, the more you receive. If that was true, our mamas would be rich.
That's right.
They would be, 100%. But they're not. And so what it really is the more you give, the more you're given. And most people aren't aware of all they're given because they're not looking, like you said, to collaborate or coincide with all they're given. And then even worse, because of the imposter syndrome, even if they're aware or offered things to be given to them because they're giving persons, they don't feel worthy of it. And so they say, oh, no, it's okay. You don't need to help me. Oh, yeah. I have enough.
I've gotten past that. I don't, you know what word I hate is enough.
Yeah,
and I hate
too.
it in the context. Do you remember when Sandra Rhimes, who did created Grey's Anatomy and so many other things?
Love her.
Remember when her bosses at the time, essentially, she was trying to get like a Disney pass for her family, and they said to her on the phone, "Don't you have enough?" Because she makes so much money.
Yeah.
And that hit me like a ton of bricks. Like that was like, whoa, no, there's not enough. That word doesn't exist. Obviously, you don't want to hoard things, but that idea of enough, I try to avoid. Also, have been, to your point, I've been called a key maker, not a gatekeeper. And it is this place of like, oh, I see in here, hey, look, they have all this stuff in here and it's awesome. Let's get as many people to understand it and have access to it as possible. But you have to do that. Here's a really important thing that I've learned is that you have to do that once you've figured your stuff out. And you have to price yourself correctly. You can't just give everybody everything, or there won't be enough for anyone. Enough. Right?
Yeah.
Because have you seen that, right? Where like because we want to help people, we're like, okay, we'll lower our prices and we'll give as much as possible, make it accessible as possible. But then you don't get enough of the capital that you need to even be in the position to do more. It's
a zero-sum game. If you give 100% but only get 98% back, eventually you're going to be at zero. If you give more, to be given more, to receive more. But the key component that I want to finish with is the confidence and comfortability of people believing there's more, that they ask for more, like Shonda Rhimes. And I see beyond the worthiness of not receiving that there's a belief, a faith that is involved with people who continue to find things that they want, or find people who sit in a situation that they want to be in and ask them for help. In your book, you help people have the confidence and comfortability of asking for help to accelerate. In other words, the fastest way to get to where you want to be, find someone already there, ask them for directions. The directions are right here in your book.
Yes.
In your first book, Your First Million.
Well, my second book, Your First Million, but my first guidebook, Your First Million. Yeah. My first book was It's About Damn Time. I appreciate the compliment. I appreciate that you took a look at it. Your First Million is supposed to be that guidebook. And I tell you what, it just came out January 1st. I've already had people tell me that they have made their first million just
from your book,
working with it.
Yeah.
And that's going
to,
over time, that's going to go further and further. That's why I want to do 1,000 and maybe it'll be more. But it's really meant to, obviously you can't just consume it. Most people won't read the book. Most people just won't read it. They may even buy it, but not read it. So you have to read it. Or listen to it on audio like I do.
Yeah, me too.
Then you have to, there are actionable steps within the book. Do those things. Why not? If I told you 5 hours from now, you would know how to make $1 million, why wouldn't you do that? Like, why wouldn't you go there? And then it's the execution. If you don't execute, I can't help you. And so that's why people say, why isn't everybody a millionaire if they have your book now? Because only a small percentage will actually get the book. A smaller percentage will read it, and a very, very small percentage will actually act on it. And that small percentage are the ones you'll see on stage at Your First Million Live year after year, essentially graduating into millionaire status.
Yeah, and to make your first million, you have to have the values, the practices, but most importantly, you have to execute on it. Just finishing up, one of the frustrations that I have coaching so many people, writing so many books, speaking, the TV shows, the movies, all the things, is that I feel sometimes that I want it more than the person I'm trying to help. And I think for me, as my career has evolved and my mission, like yours, is to empower other people, that a lot of times we come into the frustrating situation of people will buy your book. They will read your book. And then they will sit on their couch, high, sick, and broke on their couch, blaming you for writing the book.
Yeah. Wondering why. Yeah.
How are you reconciling the fact that in the end, you can't change someone that doesn't want to change?
That's taken a long time, especially in personal relationships, right? But it is that at the end of the day, I feel very confident and happy and proud that I've delivered the tools. And I know that there are some people who are not going to take them and some people who are. And I have to focus on the ones who are actually reaching out and asking for help and actually willing to meet me halfway.
But I will tell you this, and I know you share this, Arlan, with me, when someone does do it, like that first millionaire of the first of your 1,000 over the next decade. There's it's better than doing it yourself.
It's better.
When somebody else does it with your help. That's why, please, if you're out there, give help to others. Pull up a seat next to you, like Arlan and I, who pull up these seats. But don't forget to reach up above you and ask for help. Ask for a seat at a table. Be the point guard on some teams. Be the sixth man on others. And I promise you, you will make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. Make your first million with the incredible Arlan Hamilton. Thank you so much for joining me on The Playbook.